If you've been told to just use AI, but you still feel stuck on what to say, where to show up, and how to stay consistent, that's not an AI problem. It's a communication strategy problem. That's why the AI Desk was created by the Media Insider. The AI Desk helps small business owners organize their message, clarify their voice, and build a communication system that can actually run without hiring an agency and without sounding like everyone else online. AI should support your thinking, not replace it. That's the AI Desk from the Media Insider. Clarity first, tools second. For a free 30-minute discovery call, go to themediainsider.co and click Connect. If you've ever thought mead was just a medieval novelty or something overly sweet, today's conversation might completely change your mind. On Whidbey Island, there's a meadery that's quietly redefining what mead can be by blending honey, botanicals, fermentation science, and a deep respect for pollinators and place. Hierophant Meadery in Freeland is owned by Jeremy Kyncl and Michelle Scandalis, two herbalists turned mead makers who believe that flavor tells the story of an entire ecosystem. From locally sourced honey to herbs grown on their own land, their work is rooted in sustainability, education, and curiosity. Today we're talking about how they found their way to mead, what it means to build a value-driven business on Whidbey Island, how bees and botanicals shape everything they do, and where they hope to see this island go in the next 5 to 10 years. This is a conversation about craft, community, and paying attention to the small things that make a place special. I'm excited to share it with you. Jeremy Kyncl and Michelle Scandalis from Hierophant Meadery, welcome to the show. Hey, Jeremy.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me out on this. This is actually a nice day in the winter.
Oh, and 54 degrees in February. You can't argue with that.
I know. I'm kind of, I'm a little bit stuffy. Just kidding. But yeah, we've had a really mild winter.
Yeah. I think we've lowest temperature I've measured is 26 so far this winter. So, and it's Noah's saying we're probably staying above average from here on to March. So we might be done.
Since we're going to be talking about bees today, I still see bees in my backyard right now. Not very many, but I still see them.
Yeah, warmer days you might see a few. I haven't really seen a lot. We've started to see some of the cluster flies out, which are a fly that pollinates. Mm-hmm. We're starting to see those moving around. We have a really old house, and so they kind of find their way, I think, into the siding and then find their way through a little crack inside, and then there they are.
Yeah. So you and Michelle are partners in the business and married in life.
Yes.
Correct. So how did you two discover mead?
So both of us, we met in college at a little private university on the north end of the Seattle area.
Okay.
And it's a school of naturopathic medicine, acupuncture, holistic nutrition, and then we were in the pre-med program for the naturopathic doctorate school.
Right.
And we studied Western herbalism, so like herbal medicine, the history of herbs, and like what's the science between how they work.
Right.
And so in part of that process, as a lot of people end up doing, it seems like I ended up starting to homebrew during college. And one of the other people in my program, one of the gentlemen in the program, offered to just kind of show me the ropes, like how do you clean things? How do you rehydrate yeast? How do you do all the little basic nuts and bolts things to start a fermentation?
Yeah.
And then to mind it through the finish.
It's such science, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of science. It's in certain ways a hard science, in certain ways a very soft and intangible science. Mm-hmm. But so when I went over to his place to learn how to homebrew, he was making mead. And so it was just like, bring some honey over, we'll make mead. And so literally it's the first two things I ever homebrewed were meads, little 1 gallon batches of mead. And it escalated really quickly from there. And so the next year, by the time Michelle and I met, my little corner, I had a little corner of the kitchen in the house I was renting with a bunch of classmates and friends. And it was just bubblers and crocks and carboys and just, there was kombucha
what is
and there
going
was
on in that
miso
house
and there's
some,
like some kosher dill pickles in the back fermenting away, and underneath there was a cider, and there's just so many things going on.
Yeah.
Because it just fascinated me, like that process of biotransformation and like that, how that is like the basis of our culture and like what really makes human culture move is how we're managing these microbes.
So did any nosy neighbors think you were like Breaking Bad?
No, thankfully not. I was like inside my own kitchen, so we were okay.
Yeah. So what made you two decide that this was something worth building your life around?
So I think that we got out of college and got married, and like 5 months later, we were having our kid, our first kid, George.
Like you do.
As will happen sometimes, right? And so all of a sudden, like we had like very serious questions about, okay, what are we going to do with our lives? And so, when we were dating and she had brought me back, her family lives in the Spokane area. I kind of realized at some point one of the spots that she wanted to go was heading up to Mount Spokane, where she worked as a teenager up at the ski hill. And on the way, we passed through Green Bluff, which is where we ended up living and opening the winery. And it's in a town called Mead.
Yeah.
And so I made a Three Stooges quality joke about opening a meadery in Mead. And I guess she took me seriously on that. But a lot of the reason that it felt like the right decision, though, was that we'd been studying with a gentleman named David Crow. And at the time, he owned an essential oil company called Floricopia. And the whole baseline of his company was going directly to places and buying essential oils and setting people up to distill essential oils all over the world. And so he would go to Bangladesh and he would help somebody convert from subsistence rice farming to having a multi-story 60-year forest plan, basically.
Wow.
That was producing, lemongrass in the understory, and then this other aromatic plant in the mid-story, and then sandalwood in the overstory.
Wow. And
so that they would have decade after decade of sustainable income at a higher than subsistence farming rate. And so that was his whole business model, is, hey, these people can make a good living and they can have a more comfortable life, and they can do that while tending to the biodiversity of medicinal plants, doing things like with lemongrass and Bangladesh, where it soaks so much water out of the soil when it floods, it dries everything off faster.
Wow.
So it means that it's a healthier environment. You have less problems with the flooding, right? Less problems with disease, all these other different things. And also you make better money than subsistence farming.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
That's how this whole business model is like, how can we utilize a business within a system that is not really necessarily set up to prioritize sustainability or long-term health, right? Because that's not what capitalism does.
Right.
That's not what it's good at.
Right.
That's not what it prioritizes. So in his case, he's like, okay, well, how do we invert that a little bit? How do we tweak with how we use capitalism in order to generate biodiversity, generate sustainability, generate greater wealth for a greater number of people? Right. And so we saw that model. We studied with him about after we had graduated, and we were like, wow, that feels like the right way of making a living.
Yeah.
And so we then started looking for, okay, how do we do something similar with our lives in a way that is like really meaningful for us? And so with that and with all of our study, we're like, okay, like botanicals were used in alcohol everywhere. Yeah. Anywhere you're at, any botanical you study, we were using it and extracting it and preserving it in some sort of alcohol. So, and mead is an incredibly diverse category. It was made on 5 continents historically. Okay. It's the most widely distributed alcohol that humans produce historically. Right. And so we're like, wow, this is something where we can pick up these cultural threads from all over the world.
Right.
And the history of our interaction with plants from all over the world. And we can put those two things together in a brand that can then drive sustainability as a priority.
So that herbal science background, it speaks to the flavor, the fermentation, and the ingredients.
Yeah.
And it has been for centuries.
Yeah. And I think it speaks to how you utilize the ingredient, when you harvest, why. There's all these little things that you're interacting with, in the case of some of these trees that we're using, hundreds of millions of years, right?
Yeah.
Of lived biological pranic intelligence.
Yeah.
That we're interacting with. And it's like, okay, how do I respect that and use that effectively?
Yeah.
Right? What does it need?
It made me just think, what you're saying is like, okay, how long have you been on Earth, and how long has this tree been on Earth?
Yeah. I mean, you look at it, I mean, the trees around here, it's like 500 years is not a problem.
Yeah.
They will get to 500.
and there's a reason.
Right.
Yeah. So meaderies are popular these days. What do you think sets you guys apart?
I mean, obviously the sustainability focus is a piece of that.
Right.
And the focus on methaglens, which are those herbed meads, is a big piece of that. There are very few places making as many meads with herbs as we do. And so that's a big piece of it. Obviously, coming from the training that we had, we also utilize plants in a little bit different way than a lot of people would, or we think about how we're building the symphony of plants in a product. All of those little nuances of how to utilize those plants and balance them and get, some of them are literally just mouthfeel.
Yeah.
They're just going to make it feel soft and like creamy and like really like just dense on the palate, right?
Yeah.
And then some of them have flavor components that are going to hit early, and then some of them are mid in the palate, and then some of them are just tying everything together and holding it. And those are all aspects of how you blend herbs for medicine historically.
Yeah.
And so having that experience, I mean, we just really do approach blending from a very different perspective.
Right.
And we also approach it from a lot broader Rolodex of possible flavors.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think that's one of the classic lines, and I think it's so important. It's like, you don't know to ask questions that you don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so for us having the experience that we do, we're asking questions of how can I do this? How can I modify this thing? And we have it stored back there, really unique set of information to pull from.
Right.
So I think that's a big piece of it. Obviously, the focus on place and utilizing plants from here is a piece of that. That's not necessarily unique, but it is relatively uncommon as well.
Right.
And then the other big one is that we use 100% wildflower honeys from Washington State for our base mead. And we use a couple of specialty honeys from Oregon.
Okay. Yeah, but when you said a while ago that when you had the guy showing you said, just bring some honey, I immediately thought, I wonder if it matters what kind of honey.
It's honey varietals are kind of like grape varietals. And they end up getting named because it's distinctive. And so even within one category, like wildflower honey, that's one of the varietals. But I'm going to tell you, like, something from Texas that's a wildflower honey, it's going to taste very different than a Montana wildflower.
And I have proof of that. So, and hopefully my husband won't be upset that I'm going to reveal this. So he likes to make granola. And before we moved here, he had tried all these different honeys, and he settled on one that is produced in Texas, and it's still his favorite one for the granola. So we have it shipped here for when he makes it, and it really does change the flavor 100%.
Is he getting mesquite for that, or what is it?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. I'm sure he told me at one time, but he was like, this is my secret ingredient. So when people say, why does this taste different? It's a secret. So now everybody knows that listens to the podcast.
They've at least got a general geographic region. There's a lot of differences.
It probably is mesquite.
Well, but that's like obviously like Texas is a big place. There's a lot of different honey getting produced in Texas.
Yes, a lot.
And, so thankfully you probably haven't given too much away.
No, I don't think I have. So explain the word hierophant. I asked you before this started how to say that, and I still said it wrong. Hierophant.
No, so I say hierophant on the phone because it's hard to hear hierophant on the phone. So I kind of either or. The Greeks would like you to say hierophant.
Hierophant. Okay.
But yeah, it's and it has come from out of classical Greece, and it's actually the person who initiated people into the sacred mystery school of Demeter and Persephone. So it's called the Eleusinian Mysteries.
Okay.
And it's the site of that mystery school, that cult worship site, is just up the west coast from Athens, and so it's about. They would have like a 9-day processional out of Athens up there on an annual basis for the rites for Demeter and Persephone. And yeah, so they basically they're bringing, the base words just mean to show what is sacred or bring into the presence of what is holy.
Okay.
So for us, we really viewed the bee in that role.
Okay.
Because overall, of course, I mean, Demeter is the goddess of the harvest. She's the goddess of all plant life. Okay. And so she's a goddess of diversity, right? Biodiversity is hard baked into what that goddess represents. And bees require that biodiversity to be healthy.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we are seeing is because of how we practice agriculture, you have like 3 million acres of almonds in California.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot else.
Yeah.
So for 2 weeks of the year, it's a paradise, right? From a bee's perspective. There's just 3 million acres of blossoms.
Yeah.
But after those 2 weeks are over, there's nothing left.
Yeah.
There's not enough food to sustain them from there.
Okay.
And so as a result, every single hive that is trucked in the United States and large parts of Canada is in California like next week.
Wow.
For 2 weeks to pollinate all those almonds.
Okay.
A quarter of those hives are going to die in the almond groves. 1 in 4. That is historically a whole year's worth of loss.
Yeah.
First 2 weeks of their year. Of the ones that make it out of there, on average, a quarter of what's left die just from the stress of trucking them after that.
Yeah.
And so now you're well above historical loss rates.
Right.
And it's because we don't have biodiversity.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have hedgerows. We don't have these classic pieces of how we've done agriculture since we started doing agriculture, or how we've done agroforestry since before we did agriculture. And so I think that for me, the decline of the bees endangers our food supply. It endangers our survival. And the choices that we're making that are negatively impacting biodiversity are driving that decline. And so I think that for us, a lot of what we saw is the bees are trying to initiate us back into this sacred balance that we as humans have cultivated for countless generations, right? Thousands upon thousands of generations of humans have cultivated that balance. And we've lost sight of that a little bit in the modern world. And so our hope is that through the activity of our business, we can start putting money into value chains that help to sustain that biodiversity, that help to create these little island farms that are sustainable, biodiverse, and biocide free.
Right.
That we can help to rebuild a nucleus to work from. Yeah. So that we can all survive together.
I really wasn't aware of all of this until that documentary about that little farm in California. What is it called? Little Big Farm? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So it's like a rescue and farm together, I think. Or is it a different one?
I think they took over farmland from major corporations that had ruined everything. There's no biodiversity. And got the first of all, the soil back to the way it was supposed to be. And so the documentary was the whole year, their whole first year, and how hard it was. And now they eventually got to that. Then they had an update to the movie, to the documentary. It's very interesting. Doing it the way you just said, and using all the different insects and farm animals and all the different things to keep, to change the biodiversity of what was completely gone. Like you were just talking about the almond trees. Yeah. It was just, almost like a dirt parking lot. Yeah. And so I really love that. And I have watched it several times because it's so educational. And I didn't know all that, you just.
Well, it's hopeful to me. It says that because one of my favorite quotes that comes from Bill Mollison. He's a gentleman from, I believe he's Australian, might be from New Zealand, but I think he's Australian if I remember right. But his whole method of thinking about the world is everything gardens. And so he's like, so you have squirrels. They plant nut trees.
Yeah.
They do. It's part of the activity of what they do.
Yeah.
They plant nut trees. They take the nuts, they bury them. They don't remember where all of them are, so they make nut trees. Right? Or all these different things. And so it's, in his view, he's like, okay, an ecosystem, if you understand it well enough, you can be the pattern recognition software, which is what humans are good at.
Yeah.
And you can help things to be in the right place, to have the right effect, to deliver the outcome you want.
Okay.
And so if you have a slug infestation over here, okay, you need to move ducks into that area.
Yes.
Because they will take care of those slugs for you.
And I learned that on that documentary.
Right. And things like that. And so it's that principle of like, bees are gardening, of course, right? They're creating seeds. They're pollinating. They're creating seeds that create more plants that they can eat later.
Right.
Everything gardens. And so that, I mean, I think that sounds like he's operating from a very similar mindset of, if I think correctly, I can have the correct results. Yeah. If I understand the world correctly, then I can build a world that is sustainable, rich, and getting better year on year.
Right. Right.
And I think that's really the goal to me, is like, how do we create benefit and positive change year on year? How do I leave things better at the end of my life as a result of my activities? Yeah. And so, I mean, obviously this whole brand is like very much in the service of that. Yeah. That's really about the whole idea of it. So it's like, how do we get into this space?
Talking about that, let's talk about your creativity a little bit. So you use herbs and flowers and roots and all those things. How do they speak to your creativity? To get into this actually making the wine.
Yeah. Well, it's, obviously, like, we start from an understanding of them as a being, right? Like, that's really what we're coming from. And there's a number of ways. Like, Michelle has a lot of training in Ayurvedic energetics and blending. And so that's Asian traditional medicine from India. And so, and then, Western medicine has its energetics and like basically its ways of understanding these beings.
Right.
And so I think that's really all it is like you are entering into a conversation with a group of people, right? A group of beings. And so then it's just a matter of like, okay, how do we design a seating chart, as it were?
Yeah.
So that I don't have these two personalities that are going to clash on top of each other. How do I buffer this thing?
Right.
How do I put things together so that the overall experience is a good experience?
Right.
And so I think that's like kind of the metaphor for it, and like kind of how we think about it. It's like we're building up the symphony of flavors. And so we'll be tasting things, smelling, tasting, analyzing, and you're kind of looking for how it moves on the palate, how it moves in your nasal sinuses, where there are dips that need more of something in there to fill it in.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's lasting as long as we want it to, or do we need to modify how the finish is, or like things like that. So you're kind of like, I think, just taking all of those plants, and as you physically interact with them as a person, saying, okay, how's that conversation going?
Right. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So I think that's, obviously I hear winemakers express very similar ideas about how they're tasting wine and like try to like organoleptically move through that experience and analyze what's going on. I think we're very much the same in that, where it's, you have the science, right? But mostly it's, okay, I'm interacting with a unique set of compounds here. And how is that interaction going? And what can I do to modify that and make it a little better? Yeah.
So let's talk about Whidbey Island. So what made you move your business here? And how does the island speak to your philosophy and everything that you're doing here?
So, I mean, the simple answer is it was a gut feeling.
Okay.
But it was a gut feeling that was 4 years in coming.
Oh, okay.
So
it's a process.
Yeah. Well, so we were seeing success in Eastern Washington, and we didn't have space to grow.
Oh, okay.
Where we were. We were limited. We were in an 800 square foot winery, and we couldn't get bigger where we were at. And so we were looking for a situation that felt right in the Spokane area. And after 2 years, we realized we probably weren't going to. And so we started looking elsewhere. We kind of made a list, and we said, okay, what other parts of Washington would work for how we want to run our business, which is kind of as an agritourism business, right? We want to be out in a rural area with a beautiful, more rural type area with some tourism.
Right.
people coming into it to experience that place. And so we kind of made a list of places, and obviously before the podcast, we were kind of talking, we looked at Swim too.
Yeah.
And it also felt too remote.
Yeah.
Right. And Port Angeles is, and Port Townsend, and we looked at Hood River area. So on the north end of the north side of Hood River, from the river-wise, and looked at Wenatchee and Leavenworth, and we really do. And then we looked up toward Bellingham, like Bow Edison, up Chuckanut Drive, and found some beautiful places. But this was the final place on our list, was Whidbey Island. And Michelle was teaching a class at Bastyr, our alma mater, teaching an aromatherapy class, if I remember correctly, and stayed on the island while she was doing it. And she didn't make it to the top of the hill in Clinton.
Okay.
Before she texted.
Yeah.
Right? She's like, "This is it.
This is it.
Period."
It's speaking to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like they drove up. They like went to the Green Bank farm. She was up here with one of her friends, and they were pouring us at the Green Bank farm.
Yeah. Aww.
And so she's like, "Okay, this is another data point. This is definitely right.
Another sign. Another sign from the Greek gods."
Yeah, I know. And so we started looking, and that was in November, if I remember right. And by February, we bought this place.
Okay.
So it was pretty dang quick. It was like we looked at 3 spots, bought this place, and then got started on the process of moving the business over, which took like a year and a half.
Okay. Yeah, I bet. So what have been some of the challenges, or your biggest challenges really, about living here and having a business here?
It's honestly been pretty good.
Oh,
I
good.
mean, because, we do most of our business off island. So we already had a stable cash flow that was not dependent on being on the island. Right. And that was like when we did the math buying this place, we figured if we never opened the tasting room here, we would still be able to pay the mortgage and be fine with just our existing business off island.
Yeah.
And so in that way, that's a little unique. There's a lot of businesses, obviously, that are like, they're trying to make it just on island. And that's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's its own unique challenge.
Yes.
Our unique challenge is trying to get enough stuff pushed out off island, right? And to keep up with that demand off island. While also kind of maintaining the heart of the place here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that like it's in that way, I think like we haven't had a hard time.
That's great.
Which is great. Yeah. I mean, I'm very, very thankful for that.
And it's a good business point to people who are listening that have small businesses here about if they haven't expanding off island.
Yeah.
It's like, how do I stay here, but still make a living? It's very hard. I hear that a lot, but you have to, not go global, but at least, like you said, just on the West Coast states alone. Yeah.
Yeah. We're just Oregon, Washington, Idaho. Yeah. So it's like we're a regional presence. And that has been treating us really well so far. Yeah. And so, I mean, obviously there's, as the distillery proves, there's ways of doing it just on island too.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that we could run lean enough to be successful just out of the tasting room here and be okay. I'm glad that we don't have to make that decision.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we kind of have the extra cash flow and income coming in from all these other sources.
Yeah.
So we can continue improving this property too. Because it's actually like the activities off island are actually plowing a lot of time, money, effort into this place.
Yeah.
As well.
You're talking about the agritourism. So you have, besides your tasting, you have workshops and
we do seasonal festivals.
Seasonal festivals and educational events and things like that. So
pairing opportunities.
Yeah.
So I think all those have been really fun when we're leading into those.
Yeah.
We've got our first few weddings this year that'll be happening here at the Meadery.
Cool.
And so like there's things that are maturing obviously and coming down the pipe that are like, oh, that's kind of exciting. That's fun. Okay. Like that's something that we've kind of built toward and been
so when people come into your tasting room and they haven't had mead before, what do you feel that the number one thing they learned the most that they didn't know or were surprised about?
normally they expect that it's going to be very sweet.
Right. That's what my husband thinks. I don't know about that. I can't,
And so, I think that's probably the most surprising thing is that, and honestly, like I make a sweet mead. A lot of places make all sweet meads. Like there is sweet mead in the world, and there's actually quite a bit of it. Like semi-sweet to sweet is normal within the industry. So they're not wrong, right?
Yeah.
But we can actually ferment drier than most wines and all beers that you've ever had.
Yeah.
Like beers are actually semi-sweet. All of them. Like you don't have any dry beers.
Right.
It's just an idiosyncrasy of the malting process and like breaking that malt down to fermentable sugar. You leave these complex sugars called dextrins that don't ferment out, but that are still sweet. Right. And so some of our sweetest products are the same sweetness as an average beer.
Oh, okay.
And so I mean, I think that is surprising to people that, okay, this can actually be very, very dry.
Yeah.
Or a little bit sweet or a lot of it sweet. I think that's probably the biggest conception that people have that I think that they have an opportunity to change while they're here.
Right. So you and Michelle are partners in business and life. Yeah. So what have you learned from that collab? Your biggest collab ever. Working together in a business as spouses can have its own unique challenges. Yeah. You guys have seen to make it work.
We have, we've been able to. I think a big piece of it that has been really critically important is to protect your sense of individuality. And also, like one of the other really big things is when you're doing so many things. Yeah. When you are so many things to each other, like you need to be very careful that you stay grateful to that other person. Yeah. Because with that level of interaction, you have every opportunity to be the opposite. Yeah. And you will find, if that's what you're looking for, that's what you're going to find, right? And so it's important for us to just acknowledge, like, hey, we're doing something that's difficult. Yeah. And then we're also maintaining a relationship on top of that. Yeah. And then we also have kids on top of that, right?
And your own individuality.
And then you have to be, and then you have to stay your own person, even with how enmeshed your lives are. Because, I mean, we are around each other every single day, basically all day. Yeah. All year, every year. And so, you do have to be careful. Yeah. In that you don't become lost. Yeah. And that you don't lose the things that you love about each other. Yeah. And that really drew us together and really
which made created this business unique. Entity. Yeah.
Yeah. Like and so that's been a big piece of it. And I mean, obviously I think we can always do better, but I think we're doing a really good job so far.
That's great to hear. So I was thinking about business risk, and especially when you're taking a business risk with a partner, that's not just a business partner. Have you guys ever made a risky decision and it really paid off?
This property, for sure.
This property. Oh, that's what I thought you were going to say, but just in case you had a story.
I mean, obviously, like jumping in the first place too. I mean, but because I literally when we started this company, I'd made those 2 1-gallon batches of mead. That was all the mead that I'd ever made in my life. When I became a commercial mead maker, a professional mead maker. And so I spent 3 years messing up every way that you can mess up. Right. At this job. Right. I really did. And so, to take that jump was huge in and of itself. But I think that this property was definitely the one that was like, because, I mean, we did the math. We're like, we can do this we can just get this done. Yeah. We can just do this thing. Yeah. And so it was like, obviously we uprooted ourselves from our core market, the market that we had built for our whole history, uprooted ourselves, moved across the state. And I mean, gosh, like I had to commute to Spokane every 2 weeks to run the winery for almost 2 years during COVID. Too. Yeah. Like the whole pandemic, I was doing that.
That's so funny. You and my husband could have been gone together because that's what he was doing every other week. Right? Was going to Honeywell in Spokane Valley for 2 years.
So I mean, it's like, but getting this place off the ground there was not a guarantee, right? Especially once the pandemic hit. I mean, like you're just like, oh my gosh, like you're just trying to survive, and
But people were probably buying more alcohol.
They were, but we weren't open here yet.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So we had a whole year with the county to get our permits, to get our permissions, right? To even start construction.
Yeah.
And so we got our permits like 5 days ahead of the lockdown.
Oh, wow.
And then just spent the entire lockdown up until Christmas. Like the weekend ahead of Christmas is when we actually got open to the public here in this tasting room in 2020. And so we spent that whole year commuting back and forth every 2 weeks, and then coming here and like I was doing the framing. Right, my father-in-law and I framed these places and rolled out the rafters, and I skinned them. I did all the trim work. I mean, it's like we were doing all this physical work to save the money that we could, to keep everything afloat. Through the pandemic. So it was definitely like it was a very big challenge. It was a very big risk, and
I'm so fortunate.
I'm
you got a
so glad we made it.
COVID.
I'm so glad we made it. It was like we got in at the right time for this market. And like I just can't imagine trying to do what we did now at the prices that there are now, at the level of complexity we have right now in the business and stuff. Like it would have been significantly harder.
So now that you've been here, what, 6 years? Going on 6 years?
Next month is 7.
7 years?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things I've been doing lately is trying my best to find stories of younger people like you and your wife, so that I can ask the question of your challenges you have being in your age group and making a life on Whidbey Island. So the question is, looking ahead 5 to 10 years, how would you love to see Whidbey Island grow or evolve, especially when it comes to agriculture and small businesses and being able to sustain yourself?
So I think one of the really fundamental challenges that we've experienced, I think a lot of people have experienced, is that we have a lot of turnover at the county.
Yes.
And so like right now we are in the process of we have a permit for an ADU and shop. We're working on getting our permit, and it looks like we just finally got through our engineering for a greenhouse to cover our patio, 1,200 square foot greenhouse, so that we can have covered, dry, warm space on our patio for people all year long, right? We filed for the ADU January of last year. And so
that is insane.
And
it really is.
And honestly, it's like in Jefferson County, they're doing their due diligence. They're being careful. They're making sure that we're not going to negatively affect the community with what we're doing. And that's important. That's a really important consideration. And I value that consideration.
But do you think it takes that long to think about that and due diligence?
But some of it, but some of the things like, right, so engineering took longer than we thought it would. But the person we talked to initially, the county, was like, hey, if you have glass walls all the way down and you're just bolting to the concrete, you don't need engineering.
Right.
Well, by the time we came back to file those permits, he had moved on, and the next person said, you actually do need engineering.
So it's subjective depending on who is looking at
And then there's always some subjective. There's always an interpretation that happens, right? But for me, it's that I would just love consistency. That's what I'd love here. That's my priority here, is like, because if I knew I needed engineering, I'd have gotten it done. And I'd have that permit right now, probably. Instead, I'm going to be getting that permit probably sometime like June of this year. So, I mean, I ate 3 months because of that inconsistency. And those 3 months, I mean, that's money. That's time. That's resources, right?
Affecting your livelihood.
I mean, we had to switch who we were buying the greenhouse from because of the tariffs that came in while we were waiting on this permit process. So all of a sudden, it's like, this is going to cost me 25, 50 grand, whatever it is, to get the one that I want, because it's coming out of Canada. And so we had to shift gears, and then so I think that's a piece of it, is that obviously we have priorities that we need to be taken care of at a county level, but I would love to see some consistency. As a business owner, like at the federal level, at the state level, at the local level, what we need most is predictability and consistency. That said, I think that there's also a lot of things that I think all of us know, that housing and affordable housing is a critical area of need on 100%. The island. And we're very much tied into that as well. But I also see that, like, you know, right now we've got a lot of young people moving onto the island as well.
Yeah.
And we've been seeing that, like, since the pandemic, there's been a real influx of younger people. I know, like, the elementary school has some of the largest classes they've ever had coming through the system right now. So we've got a lot of young people coming in. That's great. Like, we have an influx of a lot of energy, a lot of young families.
Yeah.
And that's been really, really refreshing to see. That's really great to see, because that's what's going to sustain us all going forward, right? Like,
absolutely.
We need to continue to, like, have that turnover and, like, continue to get people in the door.
Yeah.
Because, like, obviously something we had talked about a little bit is, like, most of us aren't from the island. Most of us have come here.
Yeah.
Most of us have chosen to be here.
Yeah.
And so, like, continuing to make that choice possible for as many people as possible is important.
Yeah.
Without making it so that our wells are all salt water. And, you know, like there's that dynamic balance. That's a really 100%. Hard thing. And that's, you know, then again, that's like, I don't envy the county that process of, like, because they're the ones that are in charge of that. They're responsible for that. So, like, how do we do this in a way that's, like, sustainable?
Right.
That we can continue to be successful as a group, as a community, but can continue to diversify and enrich our community by having more people, more perspectives.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, I hope that we see that in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
That continuing, because it is happening.
Right.
Obviously, like, they're building housing. I know Goosefoot is working on a project in Langley right now.
Yep. There's a new nonprofit out there that's all that they have created themselves for, is to help with the housing issues. And because there's this whole concept of what they call the middle, and the middle are teachers, firefighters, police officers, people we need to sustain. We can't do without doctors here.
Yeah, they're part of the spokes of our community.
Firefighters and police officers and school teachers, we can't. But if they can't afford to live here because of the price of housing, it's bad for everyone. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you're retired or if you're younger and you're just out of high school, it affects everyone. Yeah. If you don't have that. And so, and I have noticed the schools on the southern end of the island are constantly advertising for school teachers. And what I've heard or been told is that teachers do come here for interviews, because who wouldn't want to live here? But then it's like, I'm sorry, there's not a house for me. Yeah. There's not a house for me. And there's a lot of Airbnbs, which there's nothing wrong with. But on the other hand, can there be a limit? Yeah. You know?
Well, that's the challenge of being an agritourism area, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Of having a very heavily tourist-based economy. And obviously, like, on the island, too, there's a lot of second, third homes.
Yeah.
There's folks that are just up here for the 4th of July, and then their house is empty the rest of the year.
That's right.
Like, it happens.
Yeah.
It's a piece of the quilt, right?
And we want the tourism.
But you know, to your point, like, teachers, I mean, they're one of the spokes in the wheel that makes this community move
Huge
forward,
spoke.
Right? Firefighters are spoke. Like, you have these people that add so much value to the community, and, like, how do we make it so they can be part of the community?
Right.
And then too, I mean, obviously, like, I like eating out. Like, that bartender's got to live somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Or the workers at the farms.
Bingo. Like, you have to have options. And so, I mean, there are elements of, like, zoning that we can work with. There are things that we can do. And I think that I've seen some creative ideas coming through at the county level, which is great, about how do we open things up a little bit more so we can have a little more density, that you can have, like, you know, a second little tiny ADU or whatever it is, like this, that you can add more housing within the existing infrastructure that's here.
Absolutely.
You know, and so I think that there's a lot that's like, there is movement. Yeah. I do see things that this is on the mind of not just us as the community, but also at the county level, also at the business and professional level. Like, we're all thinking about this, and there is movement. Yeah. So I have a lot of hope there. Yeah. And I think that we are going to get some really good things happening.
I think so. Like you said, there's just so many people who it's top of mind awareness. Yeah. And because it's so important, and nobody wants someone said to me, yeah, people are afraid island's gonna turn into the next Manhattan, which cracked me up because it's such a stretch.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I understand not having tons of master plan developments and the traffic. We have 1-lane highway that you rarely can pass anyone. I mean, so we can't.
Yeah, to get to that place.
Yeah.
Like with where things are at right now, you would need to bring water over from the mainland.
Yeah.
Fundamentally.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the heck you're going to deal with all the waste. But like you would have a lot of infrastructure that you would have to put in to get to that level of density. So I don't know that it's going to happen.
Yeah. That's a very good point. I'm so glad you brought that up because that is for all of us that are excited about let's address the housing. There's so much more to it than just doing it. Yeah. And that is huge. Yeah. The sewage, the water, the electrical lines that go down.
It's
wind.
Like you have like Lone Lake. I mean, obviously effluent and runoff have made it so you can't swim in it safely.
Yeah.
There's closures all over the place, because of essentially, effluent.
Yeah.
Old systems that are leaking and are grandfathered in. And so it's like, I'm sorry, you can't eat shellfish here.
Yeah.
So you have elements of that that's happening. I mean, it's but I think water is the critical piece.
Yeah.
And they're reasonably, it's because we are fed by what lands on top of the soil here. That's where all of our fresh water is what actually comes down as rain onto the island. There's a finite amount of that resource.
Right.
And that is going to limit the density here.
Right.
Unless we can get aerial capture, which that is technology that's out there.
Yeah.
That is going to be an option going forward. We might be able to get more dense by just getting that dew out of the air every morning and just being more efficient with how you use your water. I mean, there's ways of doing it.
Yeah.
But I think it is going to be self-limiting in that way.
You know what? I haven't heard of that. And now my wheels are turning. So, where I live, I look at the Saratoga Passage. And one of the things that happens this time of the year, starting in the fall, that I absolutely love is the clouds sitting on the water.
Yeah.
And so I can see Camino Island, but also there's clouds on the water. Mm-hmm. So would that be considered something that's
moisture that you can capture?
Can be captured. Okay.
Yes.
That's cool.
So, and there's, there are ways of doing it that are getting more efficient. So the technology is coming along that may open this up a little bit more.
Okay.
As well.
Okay.
Which great, at least stretch it a little bit, offer a little bit more infrastructure, and then you just have to have enough perkable land to put in septics.
Yeah. So before we get to my rapid fire questions, let's talk about what you stand for. And basically, Hierophant Meadery years from now, what do you want people to say about this place that you've created?
Gosh, I mean, it's...
Or something you stood for.
Yeah, so I think that, for us, we view our activity here as holding this place for the future and improving it for the future. So our hope, obviously, is that our sons can inherit this property and this business, and that it's still... that it is a sustainable, successful, long-term venture.
Yeah.
But I think that the foundation that is going to get there is going to be about people having this space.
Okay.
Right. And so with the festival we just had this weekend, people bring themselves into this space just as much as we hold this space. It's this is a place for our community to be. And this is a place for people to be connecting with the plants that surround us, right, with sustainably produced products, with this whole idea of leaving this place, this community, this world better as a result of what we're doing.
Right.
And so I really hope that that's the legacy that we leave.
Right.
Is that, by the time I leave, that this place has immensely more biodiversity.
Right.
That it supports immensely more life forms.
Yeah.
That it's held in a way that supports this community and enriches this community and this place, this region, the world as a whole. And that we just help to move humanity back into a place of what we're actually good at, what actually matters.
Yeah. I love that because it's so opposite of just for thee. No, what is it called? Just for me, not for thee. It's the opposite. It's like, what can I leave for everybody? And not just my loved ones or for myself.
I mean, I think that, like, when you look at it, so many things have gone into me being alive right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and so I am fundamentally an expression of the interconnection of this world.
Yeah.
Because I don't exist unless other things have given their lives for me to exist.
Yeah.
And when my life is gone, it's going to be given to other things so they can exist.
You know, that is something for everyone to think about. I mean, even giving someone something to think about at the end of the podcast is what has gone on to make sure you exist. It's a lot to think about. Yeah.
And it's like, and we exist because of the greater community of organisms around us.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just, there is fundamentally something just so meaningful and purposeful for me to be consciously trying to serve all those other things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
While I'm also obviously getting a lot.
Yeah. From
everything else too. But like, how do I incorporate into that system? How do I benefit everybody? This whole community of bees and trees and little tiny herbs and everything else that's happening, right?
Yeah.
It's a fundamental question to me. It's a foundational question to me about, right living and like how do we do this well?
Yeah.
And how do we utilize our own unique skills as humans in a way that is beneficial?
Right. Right. That reminds me of Elena, and also when I said Hannah earlier, realized I'm talking about Hannah from the conservative district.
Oh yeah.
You met Hannah?
Yes.
Yes. And the same thing. They're of the same mindset. So it's just so nice to continue to talk about it.
Yeah.
And it seems like I'm not trying to age myself and say I don't think like you, because I do at some point, I do, but it comes from younger people. And I hate to always say it comes from the young folk, and age myself, but you can still, even at someone my age, can continue to learn and make changes. Mm-hmm. Everybody can make changes. You're not stuck, where you are.
Well, I think that like we're kind of like that transitional generation at our age where, we grew up with a hole in the ozone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still there.
Yeah.
Right. So like we grew up with a very distinct consciousness of how powerfully humans can negatively affect the world.
Yes.
In ways that make it less safe for us.
Yes.
In ways that endanger our species and a lot of other species besides. Mm-hmm. And so I think that, we're the first generation that really has had to grapple with that for our whole lives.
Yeah.
And with what that means.
Yeah.
For our whole lives. And so, and I see too in the generations behind us now, like all the youngsters now are very much in the same place, if not more so.
But just so you know, just to make to warn you, they're going to be saying something about you too.
Oh heavens, yes, absolutely.
Like I was watching this video. It was so funny, but it was so true. Of all the, I didn't grow up on that much processed food, but all the canned things, the Nestle Quicks, the High C Kool-Aids, rusted playground equipment. When I was younger, all the merry-go-rounds were rusted, and you still played on them. Oh, yeah. Nowadays, a mother at a playground would never put her child on a rusted slide. But somehow we survived.
I mean, I've seen folks get arrested because their kids went around the block on their bike.
I know. I was listening to a podcast that Carol Burnett was on. Do you know who Carol Burnett is? Okay. And she was saying that she grew up in Hollywood in the 50s, and they used to climb up to the Hollywood sign and play on it, which now you're going to pretty much get shot.
There's a barbed wire fence around it.
Yes. And they would hang upside down, and, and it was all rusted and gross. And she said we would be out there all day, and I knew she lived with her grandmother. So she goes, I knew I needed to be in by dark. Yeah. And so we would get home and slide in right when it got dark, and she didn't know where I was all day, but now you could get arrested. Yeah.
The kid and the parent.
Yeah. Yeah. For doing all that. Okay. So
definitely.
Let's get through these rapid fire questions.
Okay. Let's do it.
So what's your favorite mead you've ever made?
Oof. God, what would it be? Actually, so yeah, there's this one apiary. We don't really get honey from him anymore, but he's out in Sprague, Washington, and the honey that he produces has a lot of sweet clover in it.
Mm-hmm. Clover,
like sweet clover. It's different. It's a melilot.
Sweet clover. Okay.
Yeah. So it's in the same family as clover, but it's different. So it's like the really tall, like yellow and white flowers right on the sides of the roads when you're out in Eastern Washington.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And it's an incredible nectar producing plant. I mean, it's one of the best nectar producing plants.
Really?
Period, for bees. But it's got this really gorgeous flavor, and it's like little hints of like toasted oak with vanilla and cinnamon are kind of your base qualities, and it's just this really rich, soft sweetness. And so our rose cardamom vanilla mead made with that honey is probably my favorite thing.
Okay.
And I really miss being able to do that, because we don't really get that honey. I got to find some more from somebody. But that one is pretty high on the list. I also really like Song of the Elders, which is our conifer mead, because I've always been a person that likes being outside and out in the woods, and that's just a forest in a glass. Yeah, it's like being out in the forest here.
Okay.
And so I really love that one as well.
So what's one botanical you'll never get tired of working with?
I love hops.
Hops, okay.
That's a good one. That's kind of like, obviously everybody loves it. And then actually we make one mead with hawthorn. I really love hawthorn.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's really high on my list. I love that one.
Okay. So beside your own property, what's your favorite spot on the island?
I think probably Driftwood Park.
Driftwood Park.
Yeah, up in Coopville.
And in Coopville. Yeah, I was going to say, tell people where it is in case they don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Driftwood Park.
Yeah, I love rock, just like kicking around and finding cool rocks. And that's a really, really great beach for that.
Okay. So are you an early morning or a late night creative?
I would say probably later in the day. Because that's when I create for myself. That's when I'm doing the things. Yeah. That's, my leisure, my work that I'm creating things for me is in the evenings.
I am too. I'm a second wind person, and I always get that at night, and I will become creative, but not in the morning. All right. So do you prefer still mead or sparkling mead? Sparkling. Yeah, number 2. Okay. Biggest influence outside of mead making?
God, there's a number of ways we can go with that one.
It's your rapid fire question.
Let's go with Sandor Katz. Sandor Katz.
Who's that?
So he is a gentleman that lives on the Short Mountain Commune in Tennessee. Last I checked, it's been a number of years. But he has written some really incredible books on just fermentation, period. And so his book, Wild Fermentation, is one of the things that really got me started with fermenting. Okay. So it's like after I made that first batch of mead, the next thing I did is get his book, and I just started making all kinds of different stuff out of it. And I think what it was is just it's you're connecting in, right? Yeah. Like so deeply, because it's in his case, he's like, how do you cultivate the organisms to do this thing that people have done all over the world, but with your own ecology in the place that you are? Okay. Right? Cool. And so it's a way of really deeply connecting with the microbial community of where you're at and using it to benefit your health, your immunity, to help digest your food down and make it more bioavailable, make cool biotransformations that make more nutrients that are available for you. So it was really deeply inspiring for me.
Cool. Now I'm going to have to Google that. Okay. So what's a smell that instantly inspires you?
Oh, man. I love Doug fir. Douglas fir.
Douglas fir. Yeah. Okay. When you say Doug fir, it sounds like a friend.
His chest hair.
Yeah.
Just inspires me.
Okay. One word to describe your work day most days.
Kind of feel like I piddle a lot.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm just bumping around, kind of working on a lot of different things. Yeah. You just, there's got to be a better sounding word than that.
Yeah. I like piddle.
Since I'm around stuff that you're drinking, I'm like, don't worry, not like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, like for the most part, it's, my days are like, okay, I've got to clean a tank and rack this, move this meat over to that tank. And then I got to go plant some flowers over there. And then I got to go distill some essential oil. And then I've got, so it's like, I just have I'm just kind of like picking up a lot of different threads every day. I feel like I'm just moving through.
So are you coffee, tea, or something fermented?
Tea.
Okay. All right. Last but not least, if you weren't making mead, what would you be doing?
God, I absolutely love woodworking. However, I would probably be something like an architect because I could actually make a living doing that. And I know that I would enjoy that.
Okay. That's cool. Well, thank you so much, Jeremy.
Oh, it's so great to have you. Thanks
Tell
for
Michelle I missed meeting her, but we'll be back out for sure. Do a tasting out here. It's been a couple of years since we've been out here. But I really enjoyed the conversation. I learned so much.
No, me too.
And I'm hoping the listener did as well.
Let's hope.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cheers.
Hierophant Meadery is one of those places that reminds us why living and doing business here matters. Jeremy and Michelle aren't just making mead. They're supporting local beekeepers, growing and sourcing thoughtfully, educating the community, and showing what it looks like to build a business that's rooted in care for the land and the people who live on it. This is the kind of work that strengthens an island, quiet, intentional, and deeply connected to place. It reflects the values many of us hold: sustainability, creativity, stewardship, and community. So if you haven't visited the Meadery in Freeland yet, consider this an invitation. Not just to taste something special, but to support a local business that's helping shape the future of Whidbey in the most thoughtful way. Jeremy Kyncl and Michelle Scandalis of Hierophant Meadery, thank you for what you bring to this island, and thank you for being part of the conversation today. The Oak Harbor Creative Arts Foundation is building an environment that ensures access to the arts while partnering and collaborating with our community. The arts are not an accessory to a strong community. They are a driver of one. The future of Oak Harbor is a thriving, interconnected arts district. Creative people, artistic spaces, and year-round opportunities promote discovery, economic growth, and the well-being of our community. Join the movement to unify all local artists on Whidbey Island and create a performing arts center and makerspace for the creation and exhibition of all art forms. Show your support by signing the Foundation's petition by going to ohcafoundation.org and scanning the QR code on the homepage. The Oak Harbor Creative Arts Foundation thanks you for your support.